Hope they can hear me now. Can you hear me now? I believe that you okay, I believe that you can hear me now. Okay. And you know what? I want to thank G5. I want to thank you, G5. Sorry about the technical issues, but you know what? It wasn't the machine's fault, it was my fault. But let me start all over again. I got you now. Thank you, brother. And I better write those settings down. What this show is going to be about, it's going to be about Donald, former President Donald Trump, and President the present President Joe Biden. And you know what? We have to sit down and examine them. We have an election that is coming up in November 2024, but we are in Chicago, Illinois, in the United States of America, and you are welcome to call in if you want to. Join the broadcast. There's a website link where you can join the broadcast. If you have a question that is in the chat room. Oh, thank you, brother. Thank you. All praises to the God. Thank you, brother. G5, I appreciate it. Appreciate it. Because what you're doing is, you know what, you're helping the Underground Railroad to facilitate, to get more information out there to the people by more. I appreciate it. And if you have a question, let me know. And the thing is, what we're going to be doing is talking about, actually, we'll get into talking about the United States of America, but we're going to talk about the president. Who is better for the United States of America? Do you think that President Joe Biden, okay, even though he has lost some of his faculties. Hey, I'm losing some of my faculties. I put my pen down and I forgot where I put it a couple minutes ago. I'm talking about right after I walked in the door. Okay, so we all losing our faculties. Say I've slipped and fell. Okay, the thing, you know, with the video that they show over and over and over, Joe Biden just slipping while he was walking down Air Force One to fly the president around. Or do you think that Donald Trump, that he has the right temperament to be the president of the United States again and win a second term? He just lost a lawsuit. And you know what? I'm talking to a whole lot of people. And you know what? I'm not surprised, because there are people out there that I have spoken to. The black vote, for example. There are people that are starting to lean towards former President Donald Trump. Okay. Now, this did not happen. Okay. I appreciate it, brother. I appreciate G5. Thank you. And you know what, Matt? And I appreciate, and Johnny, how you doing, my brother?
I'm doing well.
Okay, you can hear me. We're up from out of Chicago, and Johnny has his own show. And you know what? Please make a quick introduction of yourself. Then we'll get on down with Donald Trump, because you know what? People, I'm finding out on YouTube, they don't like to hang on too long. But go ahead, bro.
Yeah, I'm Prophet Johnson of the Joyful Sound Truth and Conversation. And so you can find me on the Joyful Sound Truth and Conversation on the YouTube platform and on every major podcast platform.
Okay. And you know what, brother? For people that are just tuning in, we're going to be talking about former President Donald Trump and Joe Biden. I gotta ask Johnny and the listening audience out there, you know what? I am surprised there are people that are gravitating towards former President Donald Trump. Okay. They're gravitating towards. Okay. I think Joe Biden is a nice guy. Okay. Okay, let me tell y'all something. We're going to have some fun. Some will be fictional, some will be non-fictional, but we're going to have fun with this program. I ask you something, Johnny. When you sit down and the listening audience out there, let me ask you something, man. When you really, really sit down and look at the presidential race that's coming up in November for year 2024, which you'll be able to use this tape, use this video, in cyberspace while you in the future to look at what we was going through in 2024. Okay, so somebody's taping this. Johnny, I want to ask you, when you really, really, really sit down and we can't even see you, when we really, really sit down and look at it, okay, who do you what do you think about President Joe Biden? And I'll tell what I think. You tell us, we're going to start with, since he is the president of the United States, we're going to start with him. What do you think about him, brother?
He is, I don't know, man. That's a lot of thoughts I have about him.
Mm-hmm.
But the one that stands out is that he's very arrogant.
Who, Joe Biden? Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Okay, I'm listening.
That's it. Arrogant.
You think that Joe Biden is arrogant? I don't. You know what? You know what the good thing about this show is? You know what? We agree to disagree, and that's good. You know what?
So now you like Joe Biden?
No, I'm not going to say I love mankind, but I think that President Joe Biden. I think that Joe Biden, in a sense, he is like a likable. He's a likable person. He is not bombastic. Okay.
Bombastic? It's not bombastic.
No, I'm talking about when I'm saying in the public. Okay, because
I think he is.
Why would you say that, brother?
So he was on the news the other day talking about, apparently he's against the Second Amendment. And so he's rather, I don't know how to put this, but I guess slighting people who own assault rifles.
Okay.
And he said that kind of smugly that that's not what you need. You need a F-16, not a AR-15.
The NRA. Go ahead, brother.
That was a bit bombastic right there.
I don't see. You know what? I don't see me myself now. The people that are listening out there, I don't see Joe Biden as an evil, a pessimistic man. What I see him, I think, because he is one reason. When you know what, it's up to the American people. It's up to you to choose who the next leader of the free world will be in the United States of America. I see President Joe Biden. I see him as a nice man to a certain extent. And you know what? But I think one of the things, and that's it for you and everybody out there, he is losing his faculties. And you know what? We are all losing our faculties. All of us are. What do I mean by faculties? I'm talking about his thinking ability. In other words, this happened to me. I laid down my pen. See this pen ring? I laid it down. And you know what I say, man, I'm getting ready to write down something Johnny said to take a note. And you know what? I forgot right where I put the pen. I've laid my phone down. Okay. I've laid my phone down. Couple seconds and forgot exactly where the phone was. Hey, you are listening out there in cyberspace. You've done it too, or you might do it. What do you think about that? He's losing his faculties.
Well, that's okay for you because you're not president.
Okay. So you're saying is, wait a minute, man. Prophet John said, I have to ask you something. Would you say that that's not for all of us? What's that? Once a man and twice a baby. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I understand the concept.
Okay, you understand the concept. So Joe Biden is doing that, but we're all losing our faculties as we agree. What about the people out there? Do you think that you're going to lose your faculties to think? Okay, but what you're saying, Johnny, I, can you elaborate on what you said? He said he's the president of the United States. Can you elaborate on that, brother? Uh,
I'm saying that it's okay for you to be the average Joe, if
uh,
I might say.
uh,
It's okay to
uh-huh.
be the average Joe and you're losing your faculties because we can, how can I say, we can accommodate that, we can support that. We have ways that we can mitigate that. But when, as the presidents normally say, and I'm sure he said at one point, and the buck stops here. So when you're where the buck stops, you're the final decision maker. That's what he says. Uh, and he has a lot of decision making powers. And
Yeah.
his decisions affect billions.
Hmm. Hmm.
So for him, I would say it's not good.
So, even though all of us are going to lose our faculties, but you're saying
Right, because all of us ain't president.
because of the position that he is, you're saying that he makes decisions that will affect many people's lives.
Billions.
Him and the Congress and him being the leader. Uh, okay, okay, okay. But when you really sit back and look at former President Donald Trump, okay, do you think that he has the proper temperament? Does he have the proper temperament to be the president of the United States of America in the Republican Party? He appears to be the leader of the Republican Party, and does he have the proper? What do you think? He got the proper temperament?
Hmm. Donald Trump, I can't think of anything he has the temperament for.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I mean, yeah, I can hardly think of anything that I would say, yeah, he has the temperament for that.
Mm-hmm. I you know, now you know what I got to play the devil's advocate here. I got to play the devil's advocate. I got to, because you know facilitating this conversation, and you know what, I have to play the devil's advocate. Okay, and the thing is, I think in a sense he does have the temperament. I mean, when he's quite passionate, he's quite passionate about, I don't know where he went at, but you know what? He's quite passionate and mad about the president not making America first. Making America first. He's mad about that. He's mad. That's
Not
part of
really.
this. That's part of his temperament. Okay, he is mad about that. Is former President Donald Trump? I'm not saying who I'm for because you know what, I'm trying to facilitate this conversation. Okay, but the thing is, how in terms of temperament and him loving the United States of America, is that the right temperament? To say, you know what, damn it, we're not gonna put China first. We're not gonna put and say Russia. We're not going to put these other countries first. We're going to put the United States of America first. Is he wrong for that, brother? Is he wrong?
Yes, he's wrong in that he's not putting America first. He's putting Donald Trump first.
How's he doing that, man? He stood up on a podium and he said, I'm not just fighting. I'm just not fighting for myself. I'm fighting for you. So explain that to me, brother.
You should have him explain what he said to you because it's very obvious he's fighting for Donald Trump. Because if he wasn't putting Donald Trump first, he would have followed the thing that the only thing that can make America great. Because if America has any greatness,
Mm-hmm.
or if any nation has any greatness,
Mm-hmm.
I think the best that they can do to demonstrate that greatness is
Thank you, God Five.
it
Thank you very much.
is through
Mm-hmm.
contact. continuity.
Yes.
Right. So when you have continuity and stability, that's the
Mm-hmm.
greatest thing that a nation can do. And what we have in place to ensure that is the peaceful transfer of power, which is the very fundamental of our political system. And he couldn't even do that.
Okay. Now wait a minute, man. I was looking at George Stephanopoulos on Channel 7 ABC News, and Martha Raddick, who I think is a great interviewer. And he asked a panelist of three people that said that they are going to support former President Donald Trump, and I think they may have voted for him, and they believe, okay, they believe that race was stolen, that it was systematically taken. I don't know if it was, I'm not going to say what my pew, but I'm saying this was on the news today. Are you saying that these people are mistaken? Are you saying that are you saying that they're mistaken? The three people that they interviewed on ABC News with George Stephanopoulos this morning, are you saying that they're incorrect?
I'm saying that I don't even want to answer that question. Because it's obvious answer, and it's one of those answers that
Mm-hmm.
it's not going to affect anybody, because anybody who thinks that the election was stolen, they think it because they're unreasonable, and my answer isn't going to make them reason.
You don't think that any elections, I'm going to generalize, you don't think that any elections in the United States have been systematically stolen? None.
If one has, they all have.
So you're saying, so I mean, this is what former President Donald Trump is saying. Now I'm saying is to the people out there, what, that's up for them to decide. But in your opinion, hey, actually, brother, your background looks great. Your background, what you're streaming with StreamYard. Then he's streaming with StreamYard, and I am too. And you know what? I'm going to put my link to StreamYard, and you join StreamYard, and you know what? You'll help the Underground Railroad television show by getting so we can get some donations. Okay, but you're saying is the individuals that are saying that race was stolen, okay, by the U.S. government to put President Joe Biden in office, they're incorrect. They're out of line. That half of the nation believes that. Go ahead.
No, half of the nation is sticking to that story.
Okay. They believe it. But
No, no. I think we have to be truthful, even when we're talking about this.
mm-hmm,
We have to be honest, even in conversation.
mm-hmm.
Truth
Well,
in conversation. Truth in
well, I
conversation,
mean,
if I might
go
add.
ahead, bro. Mm-hmm,
There is no one
mm-hmm.
but the most extremely mentally defective that actually believe this election was stolen.
Mm, 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 mm. Believe that. I understand what what half of America,
Is
half of
claiming
them. Uh-huh.
that the election was stolen.
Okay. Hey, if you like this broadcast, you know what, on your social media platform, you know what, go ahead and press share. So people that are just tuning in, we're talking about who would better be a better choice for the president in 2024, with whether it be Donald Trump or be Joe Biden. Damn, I almost slipped when I said Joe Biden. I like to ask you something. Blacks historically, they started out in the Republican Party, and they left the Republican Party and became Democrats. Is it surprising to you? I was looking at the polls today. Okay, you may not believe in polls. Some people don't believe in polls. They'll say there are more blacks. I think it is 30% that are shifting towards voting in supporting former President Donald Trump? First of all, do you believe it? And if you don't believe it, let me know why. If you do believe it, let me know why. Please, brother.
Well, first of all, the Republican Party that we now have is not the Republican Party that we then had.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not the same party. So
Mm-hmm.
it's wrong to compare.
Okay.
Uh, at the same time, you could say the same thing for the entire South. Used to
Mm-hmm.
be Republican. So parties change, politics change. So how much are people changing though?
Mm.
You know, I really don't think that in in very key areas, I don't see where African Americans have changed.
Okay. So are you saying that? Are you saying like the news polls that they put up on television, illustrating that there are some blacks that are starting to African Americans are starting to gravitate towards former President Donald Trump? Are you saying that they're inaccurate?
I'm saying that politics is pretty hideous.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because it's not politics is anything but honest. In fact,
Mm-hmm.
the definition of politics should be this:
Mm-hmm.
justice by or the appearance of justice by
Mm-hmm.
other means, by
Mm-hmm.
unjust means. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like it's basically the um said goal of obtaining a standard of justice
Mm-hmm.
without actually doing any justice.
Yes.
So with it's so our politics become kind of strange in that sometimes there's this thing that they call how do they phrase it, wagging the dog or something like that. And that's
Mm-hmm.
kind
Okay.
and that's kind of how uh people's minds are treated when it comes
Mm-hmm.
to politics.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so they basically telling us how to think, and a lot of times people fall into that trap.
So you're saying is these exit polls and all these things, these are inaccurate, and there's no you would say there's no validity to it whatsoever. No.
Well, I mean, not only do I think there's no validity to it, even when you listen to the numbers that they are using,
Mm-hmm.
the numbers that they're using show that what they're saying is invalid, but yet they press ahead with these false narratives anyway. For example, they had this false narrative that African American men was uh, uh, leaving the Democratic Party in record numbers,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what they said. They focus would stay right there. African American men are
Mm-hmm.
leaving the Democratic Party in record numbers. And
Okay.
then when they looked at the numbers, it went from something like 5%
Mm-hmm.
African American men voting Republican to
Mm-hmm.
6%.
Mm-hmm.
So that's 1%. That's a exaggeration
Mm-hmm.
over a number that is probably within the margin of error.
Mm-hmm.
But then later on, they expanded the story and said that African American women are voting for the Republican Party
Mm-hmm.
in record numbers. And
Mm-hmm.
then the numbers they used was uh, it went from like 4% to 5%.
Oh, well, wait a minute. After you get so it appears as though what you're saying, you appear to be saying like Donald Trump to a certain. It's fake news.
Fake
Is that
news.
what you're saying? You say it's
Fake news.
fake news. Huh?
Fake news. So again, they went and got the numbers for African American women voting Republican. It was 4, and it went up to 5, and again, it was the same story. African American women, now it's African American women, are voting for. Somebody said they can't hear. It's probably the music. Is that your background music?
No, that was something I did earlier. Go ahead, bro.
I still hear it.
Oh yeah, it's low in the background.
Okay,
go ahead.
But they went from, hold on 1 second.
Okay.
Yeah. So, so that was the numbers for African American women, so now they've switched from African American men specifically are voting Republican at record numbers to African American women. And then the numbers were slightly different, barely different. It was like they was 4% at first, and then with Trump it was 5%. So again, what I think is probably within the margin of error, they're trying to make a news story to affect the minds of people and have people think, it's no different than when they have a product coming out and they intentionally create a shortage where people are standing outside for their product, and then people are standing outside in this long line for this product, and it must be valuable because people are waiting in line. So they've set that whole scene.
But if you're making that statement that the polls are false news, how could not their election been false news? This is a statement that you just made, and I would like some type of clarification. You said it was impossible about the election. That could not have been fake news. But the polls that are coming up about black people joining the Republican Party and want to abandon it, that is fake news. Can you give me some? Please, how can I'm trying to understand?
Let me help you out. Let me help you out.
Okay.
If the news says the election is stolen,
okay,
and it is stolen, it's not fake news. If they say it's not stolen and it's not stolen, it's not fake news. They're just reporting. So man, the question,
you appear to be saying two things.
No, you're mixing up two things.
You're saying on the statistics, it is a false narrative. That is what you are saying.
Right. So if
you're saying it's a false narrative on that, why can't it be a false narrative over the election? Give me some clarification. I'm not saying I'm bringing this up for conversation.
Okay, because I'm dealing with definitions. Okay. Narrative is like perspective, right? So when they say 5% of African American men voted Republican in the previous election, we can assume that's true, right? If we assume that's true, and I don't think that's I don't think that's something we're debating, right? Okay, I'll buy that one, but that's never the question. The question was never, are these numbers factual in this? So when it came to those numbers, we wasn't arguing whether or not those numbers were factual. What we were arguing is what the numbers mean. We were assuming the numbers to be right. 5% in the previous election of African American men voted Republican. Okay, fine. Seems reasonable. And then in this election, they voted 6%. Fine, seems reasonable. But the narrative they set was, we're voting Republican in record numbers, like we're just leaving the Democratic Party in droves. So I accept the numbers, I reject the narrative. Okay, so I accept the news story in terms of the facts presented. I just don't accept the meaning that they give to the facts.
Okay.
So
Okay.
when it comes to the election, I accept the facts.
They can't be lying on it. I got it. I got it. Okay.
I'm saying that they're not,
Okay.
because I mean,
But they
why
lying
would
on the statistics of African Americans coming to
no,
the
they
Republican
not.
Party,
They're not.
which is more than 5%.
You're mixing. You're mixing. No,
No,
they're
I'm
not
asking.
lying. They're not
Okay.
lying.
Okay. Okay.
They're
So
exaggerating.
okay.
They're pushing a false narrative about the facts.
You know what, man? I'm talking about global politics. You know what, the Ukraine. President Donald. I'm going to say President Donald Trump. Damn. But Joe Biden.
Wishful thinking.
It's going to happen. But anyway,
you hope. I don't know why you hoping, but hey, okay.
I don't hope. I'm just straddling the fence.
Yeah, you need to get off that fence.
Because you know what, I got to tell.
You're gonna get some.
I got to tell people out there. You know what? That no matter who wins president, my world is going to be all right. I have to be honest. But Johnny, I like to ask you a question. You know, with the handling of Ukraine and the United States of America giving away millions of dollars to the Ukraine. Okay.
Millions? I don't think so.
Okay, millions to the Ukraine.
No, I don't think so.
Do you think that Joe Biden is right in influencing the Congress and Senate to give more money, and should the United States have ever been involved?
First and foremost, I disagree with your numbers.
Okay, they were just fictitious numbers.
All right, so let's be realistic and talk about billions and not millions.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not a person that wants to be political, right? We can have political commentary because this is something important to each individual, important to the nation, and is relevant to our lives. And as a minister, I know that this is relevant. So, I do talk about it, and I wouldn't, I think that it has spiritual relevance. But, on the natural side, it has natural relevance. So, when I think about my perspective on world affairs and international government, without trying to pick sides and promote some very narrow worldly agenda, I do look at it from a very natural standpoint and see what I think is wise, naturally speaking. So, as I began to speak earlier about what makes a country great, if there is a great country or could be a great country in this world,
make America great again. Go ahead.
It'll be based on stability and consistency. So when I think about, who I would prefer to be president, I vote for Jesus. I wish he was on the ballot, right? No, but he wouldn't even put himself on the ballot because he's not a political choice.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, and I do vote. I don't put much value in it. I do it because I think that I'm just not comfortable not voting.
Yes.
I'm not comfortable with having a spiritual outlook like some have where they actually preach against voting.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's kind of backward.
Yes.
Maybe I'm wrong, but you know, I think it's kind of backward. Now the thing is, you shouldn't be campaigning. You shouldn't be out there, invoking angels from Africa and from Spain, over an election.
Mm-hmm.
But when I consider who I'm going to vote for,
Mm-hmm.
I think about the stability and consistency of the country. So the question I have to now ask myself, which
Mm-hmm.
is kind of ridiculous for our nation based on
Mm-hmm.
our history, is this man going to facilitate a peaceful transfer of power? That's
Yes.
one. That's one of the main questions.
Yes.
Is he going to be bombastic, and is he going to be tyrannical? Is
Mm-hmm.
he going to be authoritarian, or is he just going to be a good manager of resources
Yes.
and people?
Yes. Yes. But
So
mhm.
when I look at those now, each candidate has flaws on either one of those issues.
Yes.
But I think there's only one candidate that has shown the propensity to uh, yield to the peaceful transfer of power, and the other one has shown the opposite.
Yes. Yes. But I'm saying, we're getting back. Do you think that President Joe Biden, he is handling the Ukraine issue?
Right. so
Well,
so right. Okay. Now, with regards to that, so and this is why I mentioned that. I kind of went around the block. Thank you for bringing me back in. But again, I stick with the point I made about stability and consistency
mm-hmm.
with when it comes to our foreign policies.
Mm-hmm.
That does affect our stability and consistency.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not ignorant of world politics.
Yes.
I'm not one, to be out there campaigning and all of that, but I am aware of world politics and foreign policy and how they affect us.
Yes.
And look, just as a natural man with uh some biases. I'm not even gonna sit up here and say I don't have any biases, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh I'm always, I prefer whatever makes America more stable and
Yeah.
more consistent economically, uh even militarily, uh and socially. That's what I'm
Yeah.
for. So when I look at the system that Russia has,
Mm-hmm.
so that's how one can think about that. When you look at Russia and the politics and the foreign policies that it has,
Mm-hmm.
you wonder if hey, do you want that type of policy to become pervasive in the world? Do you want Ukraine to be led by a person that seems not to have any respect for human rights and the rule of law,
Mm-hmm.
to have his influence spread from the Ukraine to Georgia to Azerbaijan to Kazakhstan?
Yes.
Uh, I mean, and then what next? Finland, Sweden, Poland, right? So, when I think about those things, I'm like, okay, I understand the politics, I understand NATO's relations and their perspective on it,
Mm-hmm.
and I won't in my natural,
Mm-hmm.
I would rather that NATO prevails in that contest. Just personally speaking, just
So Joe Biden is doing basically he's doing the correct thing. So the narrative, the solution that former President Donald Trump gives that you know what, that we should not be supporting and giving that capital towards the Ukrainian conflict of war against Russia, which Ukraine was annexed from. Basically, former President Donald Trump is taking the wrong position, in your opinion. It's the wrong opinion. It's the wrong. He's taking the wrong. That's the wrong course.
I think to be honest, I think it's a foolish course. I think it's a course that's not unlike a lot of the world in World War II in regards to Germany.
Mm-hmm.
You know, whether it's some of the Balkan states or some of the North Atlantic states. They many of them initially took the wrong posture of pacifism and just allowed Germany to steamroll countries and invade one country after another. So yeah, I mean, because actually, imagine without U.S. help,
Okay.
Ukraine would have been overrun by now,
Mm-hmm.
and who would be next?
Mm-hmm. So it's
Very,
just
very likely Poland
Mhm.
would have been next.
Mm-hmm. It's justifiable to give the capital. Former President Donald Trump is taking the wrong narrative from your perspective. You know, I like to ask you something about the borders. It appears as though Joe Biden, President Joe Biden, is basically, he might as well say he's for open borders. If anybody is coming across the borders and being able to go to sanctuary cities like Chicago and New York with impunity, with no problem, okay, would you say that that is the right road to take to actually, you might as well take down these borders? What do you think that Joe Biden is wrong for that? And do you think that he's right?
Well, I think that we have. You know, if you ask me on the fundamental level, what I think about borders,
Mm-hmm.
I would say they really have no uh, foundation in rightness. You know, you can't fundamentally justify borders.
Mm-hmm.
And
So
why
there
do
should
I
be
say
no
that?
borders at all. I get it. I'm listening. I'm listening. Okay.
And I say that because God created this earth
Mm-hmm.
for man to dwell in, and He said to take dominion over the earth, replenish, be fruitful, and multiply.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't say stay right here. He didn't say keep those people over there.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So that's my fundamental perspective. But dealing with reality
Yes.
that God respects borders.
Okay. Okay.
Because at one time He used and operated through a nation that
Yes.
had borders.
Yes.
So that lets me know that God has respect unto it, even though over in Romans it says, I beseech you therefore, brothers, by the mercies of God, that you present your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy, acceptable unto God, which is your reasonable service.
Mm-hmm.
And be not entangled in this world. I'm paraphrasing, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. And it goes on to say, prove what is that good, acceptable, and perfect will of God. That lets us know that God has a will, but there's different types of wills that He have.
Yes.
In other words, He has a divine will, which is that perfect will, but He
Mhm.
also has a permissive will, which is the acceptable will of God. So God has accepted
Mm-hmm.
what man has put in place, which are borders.
Mm-hmm.
So and within the framework of borders, you have laws, and we know that God has validated having law,
Mm-hmm.
and those laws apply to the border.
Okay.
So a nation has a right to have laws and borders and apply those laws to the borders.
Mm-hmm.
So the persons, the citizens, U.S. citizens,
Yes.
and politicians, usually they're not sincere about it, but that are calling for the respect of the border are not wrong.
Okay. Okay. So essentially, okay, are you saying that I'm not going to say the scenario that we are discussing that Donald Trump is former President Donald Trump is saying that we should have secure borders. No one should be able to walk into the United States that has not followed the proper protocol.
Absolutely, because again, I think people are stuck in the fundamental that I first spoke on, and
Yes.
they're right. That's a radical. That's extreme. That's a radical extreme to think just because this is a fundamental that it is wise for the present time and circumstance that we're in.
Mm-hmm.
That it's ridiculous to have the idea that, and especially when people are insisting on this idea of a borderless society. Yeah, that's a fundamental. But the problem is when you don't have the same reality in which that fundamental exists. So when God created us, there was no borders,
Mm-hmm.
and just for this, I'm perceiving these biblical intellectuals that may be listening right away and
Mm-hmm.
say, well, God put the man in a garden
Mm-hmm.
and that had borders. It had the border of the arable land,
Yes.
right? So it was confined to an area that was conducive for the natural part of man's life. That's why God said replenish the earth. Why? What that
Yes.
means to replicate what you see. That means that it was the assignment of man to make all of the earth habitable.
Yes.
And if we had maintained our status with God, it would have been a borderless society, but
Mm-hmm.
it would have been a just population, a just and honorable population.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas the scripture says, do justice, love mercy, and walk humbly with your God. That's how mankind would have been under that circumstances. Borders would not have been necessary, but we don't live in that reality.
So, former President Donald Trump is right. And my question in regards to that, you have sanctuary cities within the United States of America. Okay. And there are people that are being flooded in. First of all, I don't blame them for wanting to leave that hemisphere where Mexico, Central America is located because of the problems that they are dealing with corrupt government and gangs and all this. My question is to you, there are people within the community of Chicago, New York, and California that are angered that these people are individuals are coming into their communities and they're unchecked. We don't know who they are and where is the money, all of the money and resources coming from. So at some point, their property taxes are going to have to go up, which means rent has to go up, and they believe that it is unfair. It's not just, but I understand again the individual that's coming from a different hemisphere that's trying to escape the tyranny, but they believe that it is unfair. They're mad, they're angry about it, and former President Donald Trump is fueling the fire But do you think it's justified for these people in Chicago, New York, to be angry or to be despondent about capital being used for someone that has come in the United States and not following the proper protocol and getting resources?
Well, I think that we can look at the situation
Mm-hmm.
and physically understand that what's going on makes no sense.
Mm-hmm.
So anytime you go to the police station
Uh-huh.
and you get all the Chicago police stations and you see people sleeping outside with blankets and then later on tents, and the children are living outside the police station, some on the inside of the police station. It's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's like if you have a 2-bedroom house,
Mm-hmm.
you shouldn't invite a family of 24 over your house
Mm-hmm.
to spend the night,
Yes.
right? So that's a very fundamental, and so we're obviously getting that wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And so that goes back to what I think was the first question that you asked.
Mm-hmm.
You asked me, I believe, what I thought about Joe Biden.
Yeah.
He has a characteristic that is common to politicians,
Mm-hmm.
which is arrogance.
Okay.
How is it that you? I mean, they keep quoting the line says the government of the people, by the people,
Mm-hmm.
for the people.
Mm-hmm.
So if that's the case, how can you declare Chicago, the city that you represent, as the head of the government, local government? How can you declare us a sanctuary city as when the people of this city have not spoken?
But you know what? That is not true. Harold Washington is the one that implemented Sanctuary City. Harold Washington did that. But go ahead.
Okay, Clifton. I didn't say who said it.
Okay. Okay.
I didn't say who said it.
What I'm saying is to blame. You saying I was saying you were saying I was saying who initiated it. It was Harold Washington, who was the first
and
black
nothing
mayor of Chicago.
and nothing changes. And nothing
Okay.
changes.
Mm-hmm.
I still stand on what I just said, that you know he didn't have but at the same time, now that was a mistake of his, you know. And I would say that has some smell of arrogance to it, yet and still.
Mm-hmm.
However, when he said it,
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't the same as when Lori Lightfoot said it.
Who was the mayor of Chicago? For people that don't know, that don't live in the United States of America, and Lori Lightfoot was the mayor. Go ahead, brother.
But if I recall correctly, I'm pretty sure when Harold Washington said that, it was based on one immigrant.
One
Immigrant. I doubt it could have been a family. I doubt it, but I think it was this one immigrant who came to the U.S. and I believe Immigration and Custom Enforcement was looking for him. They finally found him, but some people helped her hide in a church.
Okay, but what I'm asking you is,
hold on, let me finish.
Okay.
So she went and hid in this church, and the priest, I believe it was a priest, that was protecting her. They didn't want to violate the sanctuary and just go in and take her.
Mm-hmm.
So they, was trying to be respectful, but the priest was breaking the law by harboring her, and it became a national issue. And I believe that's when Harold Washington said that we're a sanctuary city, but that was a very narrow situation. It wasn't what we have now.
Okay, but go back to what I was asking. Do you think it is justified for people that live in Chicago and New York, okay, in California, to be angry, to be upset and bitter because their property taxes will go up because they're a group of people that came into the country that did not follow protocol. So therefore, the mortgages are going to go up because the property taxes are going to go up and rent is going to go up. Do you think they're justifiable with that anger? It's unjustifiable. And these people that are complaining about people coming into these sanctuary cities, that they're inhumane.
Yeah. So, of course they're not inhumane. They are the people. They are the people, and their voices have not been heard.
Okay.
The will of the people is not being done. So it's not only the property taxes going up, it's also property values going down.
Oh,
It's
wow.
the scarcity of jobs. And when I say scarcity, that's speaking relatively more scarce than it was before, because they are hiring these illegal immigrants.
Okay.
Right? If you go into the grocery stores or the retail stores and you want to help to find the item that you're looking for, there's a good chance that the person you're talking to doesn't speak English.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that's disturbing.
Now I can't hear you.
You can't.
Nah, I can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay. I said that's disturbing when you go into the grocery store, the retail stores, and these different places of business, and you're trying to get assistance and you get no English. Right.
Espanol. But you're saying they're coming to work. Are there not a lot of jobs that are available in the United States that are not being filled because of the wages? Will not these people come in and pay taxes? Will not these people come in and help the economy? Will it not?
Well, I wish I could put those numbers together. That would be an interesting study. I don't have those numbers.
Yes.
But the appearance of it, and it was most likely is what it appears to be,
mm-hmm.
is that this cost us as citizens. If in no other way, in terms of whether this is going to be an employee market or employer market.
Yes.
So with the influx of immigrants, illegal immigrants, I might add, if you're hiring them, then what you're doing is enlarging, as one might argue, unjustly enlarging the labor force.
Yeah.
And changing the balance of power between employee market and employer market, and making it more of an employer market, and then that drives down wages. So you have wages down, taxes up, property values down.
Oh, wow. But can you blame the people that are fleeing in tyranny from wanting to make a better life by coming to the United States for them themselves and their children? Can you blame them? Can you blame them?
I wouldn't. I wouldn't blame them, because it's hard. It's hard. I'm sure it's hard out there. It's pretty. From what the news I have that I've looked at regarding Venezuela, it's pretty rough. It's tough. So no, I wouldn't blame them.
No, I don't believe. So what is the solution? What is the solution? You say, first of all, so you agree with former President Donald Trump. This is not a Donald Trump commercial. We're making a comparison. Okay. You agree with the overall policy of the people following the proper protocol to come into the United States of America, not just coming in at liberty. At will.
Yeah. With the policy, even though I know he's not sincere, the policy specifically, you have to obey laws. You know, if there's a stop sign, you must stop.
Yes. And you know what? When you really when you really sit down and make an assessment, and you've already said this, I would like for you to reiterate that, because there are people that are looking on social media, even though it's a one right here. I'm talking about in StreamYard, because we coming on Twitch and other websites, and I'm looking at the numbers, and the numbers are good. I would like to, for people that are just tuning in, could you make an assessment of both President Joe Biden and one of Donald Trump? Tell us, who do you believe would be the best steward to run the country in year 2024 when the elections happen in November? Hello?
Oh, you talking to me?
Yes.
Wait, who I think is the best steward?
No, I'm saying, who would be the best steward on what? Okay, after the 2024 election in the United States of America, and give us an assessment of both candidates, and who do you think would be a better steward, and why?
Well, unfortunately, we always come down to, as they say, the lesser of two evils. And although, you know, so I could be wrong, because both of them could be just as destructive as the other, to be honest. But we've seen the potential of Donald Trump and his destructiveness.
Yes.
And his willfulness in being destructive. So based on maintaining the things, both the economic and political things, that keep us both consistent and keep us continuous.
Yes.
I would prefer Joe Biden, because all the, at the very least, idiosyncratic behavior of Donald Trump is so divisive. It's just very divisive. It's sad. I mean, but at the same time, I can't address Trump's divisiveness.
Yes.
Because his divisiveness would not fly in America without the divisiveness of what is called the left. So when you have the left calling for some very vulgar books to be accessible in public schools, and you're confusing the genders so that people can just make up their own gender, and you're allowing for all this confusion, and you're just saying anything goes, and you know, people can make up their own reality.
Yes.
I think you're giving Donald Trump a lot of fuel to work with. Because I mean, maybe I'm just being very optimistic and giving the benefit of the doubt. I feel like Americans are much wiser than this. Maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like we're much wiser than to, even though I don't know if I have a lot of proof of that, but I just feel like historically we've been wiser than to be authentically support of the presidency of Donald Trump, as opposed to just supporting a counter politic to what the left is offering.
Okay, so with Joe Biden, so you know what, essentially, okay. I believe what you're saying is, if Joe Biden does get back in, the borders will be open.
Well,
and it would
I,
continue.
I don't know. See, because I don't really think I think the Republican Party uses the border issue because I really don't think they're that serious about closing the borders either. I think it's just a political football.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I'm saying is things with Joe Biden with President Joe Biden in there, things we essentially stay the same. But I'm gonna give my summary. Things will essentially, if you like things just the way they will essentially stay the way they are. If you like that, if you're content with that, that's okay. But I think,
if you don't want America to be great again, yeah.
Yes, I didn't say that, but he said that. But if I feel as though with President Donald Trump, okay, I admit some of it is a rhetoric, but I said there's nothing wrong with putting America first. There's nothing wrong with having a secure border where you have to follow protocol to come into the country, and you can just go across the borders and go to a sanctuary city. I think that is wrong. I think that is wrong. I don't think it's wrong to put America first. I don't think it's wrong to make an attempt. I said to make an attempt to bring jobs back to the United States of America. I don't think that that's wrong, but again, some of it may be rhetoric. Okay, it may be rhetoric.
Slogans.
You know, I was listening to Minister Farrakhan of the Nation of Islam on YouTube, and he was talking about former President Donald Trump. He said, "Damn it, bring him on, because it may make people of color come together. Bring it on, because he's not lying about the false news. He's not lying, okay? Because the false news is put out there to feed the people things that don't even matter." But it was just an interview that I heard with Minister Farrakhan. He said, "Donald, bring it on. And he didn't say it in a hateful way. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
He said he's exposing. He said He said Farrakhan. He said he's exposing a part of America that is here. Bring it on." And it was just a very, very interesting interviewing. What I'm going to do, I'm going to analyze that and get commentary to that one day. And not with the Nation of Islam. I respect the Nation of Islam, but it was just I thought it was some valid points. But if you like things just the way they are, vote for Joe Biden. Vote for him.
If you want things the way the bad that's happening to be accelerated, to be multiplied, I don't know. You might have a choice there too.
Yeah.
If you want it worse, I don't know. You might have a choice there too.
Yeah, man. Joe Biden, to me, in my opinion, he's a good man, but I think that he has lost some of his facilities, and I admit I have lost some of my facilities.
But you ain't president.
As Johnny has said, I'm not the president of the United States of America, and I think and I believe in my heart that there are smart world leaders. World leaders are sharp. They're smart. Not all of them. They're sharp, and I believe that by them knowing that, I believe that some of them have taken advantage of that, because they know that they can do things with impunity, almost impunity, like flying a spy balloon over the United States of America And you know what? And there be no retribution whatsoever. But I think, you know what, the brother got a different view, and it's good. Because I don't think that China would have done it without considering and calculating that there would have been repercussions for those actions. That's what I
Well,
think.
I mean, why
I'm just
fly
using that as an example. Okay.
why fly a spy balloon over the US to get secrets when you could just ask the president?
I understand. I understand. I understand. I understand. And but Donald Trump former President Donald Trump is suspectable because when he says he didn't believe our own CIA against Vladimir Putin when he was collecting information, he said, "Well, I believe what Vladimir Putin said."
You believe the head of the FSB, I think it's called now, which is formerly the KGB.
The
You believe?
KGB.
No, it was used to be called the KGB. Now I believe it's the FSB.
Mm-hmm.
You believe the head of the FSB over your own CIA.
I
So
understand.
that makes my voting choice a lot easier.
Yes, yes, yes. But like I say, if you want much of the, but again, if you want much of the same, go ahead and vote Joe Biden. I'm not gonna say Joe Biden, President Joe Biden. Okay. But if you want, I believe if you want somebody that truly, truly wants to put America first, because this is a commercial. You want to put America first. I believe.
Vote for Jesus.
Plus, but make America great again. But I don't agree with everything that Donald Trump has done. I don't agree with treating women like that. I don't believe in a defamation court case that he lost and he's going to have to pay $83.2 million. I don't believe in that. But I just happen to believe, I believe that he's a stronger man. I believe that.
Ooh,
You know,
82. What
huh?
happened?
83.3 million. He lost a defamation case to a young lady that it's alleged that he did things to her that were unbecoming. And he said things that damaged her character. And
Wait. Let me say something to that.
Uh-huh.
See, one of the things, we're talking about make America great. And this is something that makes you realize that that's nothing more than a slogan, because the thing that's supposed to make America great are laws. The thing that is supposed to make America great are freedoms.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. So
Drake
amongst those,
does what's the doodles? Okay, I know you live in Chicago. Thank you, my brother or sister. Thank you. Go ahead, brother.
yeah. So one of the things that's supposed to make America great are the freedoms, and the freedom to be secure in your persons, the freedom of speech, etc., etc. So this is a problem I have a lot, right? No matter where we are, on a national level, on a church level, we have these documents, these founding documents, these founding principles, these founding books that dictate what's right and what's wrong. But we don't do it unless there's a law to make it happen, when the law is based on principle, supposed to be anyway, based on principle. And that's what we say it's based on principle, but we always violate these principles until someone come up with the force of law.
Okay.
And I'm saying that to say this, that how do we not know that it's a violation of a person's freedoms,
Mm-hmm.
and many of them, including the freedom of speech, the
Mm-hmm.
freedom to be secure in your person, to charge someone, to be able to sue someone for defamation
Mm-hmm.
because they refute your alleged allegations.
Mm-hmm.
That's a fundamental of freedom of speech, that if someone accuses you of something, you have a right to say, no, I didn't.
Yes. Yes. Okay.
So this, while we talk about all these different regimes and like Russia and all these different countries around the
I
world,
know.
right? We talk about China and how they have a lack of, that is a total asinine lack of freedom to tell somebody who's a, alleged to have committed a gross crime as this, and you don't have the freedom to say, no, I didn't.
Yes.
And that
Yeah.
becomes, that's what, slander, what are they calling it, defamation. I
That's
mean,
defamation. That's just
that's
defamation.
that's like Gestapo type stuff.
Mm-hmm. 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 You when you talk about freedom, brother, the American people's freedom have been taken away from them through the Patriots Act. I read an article yesterday. Do you understand that the NSA, okay, this was in Google's news yesterday, are buying information from major um, internet providers from American people, and they have been buying information and collecting information for years.
Oh, they're buying it.
They're megadata. They're
You say
buying
they're
megadata. Yes,
you saying they're buying it?
yes,
Oh,
yes.
okay. I mean, that's a new one. Last I checked, they were just going in and demanding it, and either stealing it or demanding it.
No, but it said in the article that they have Eric Snowden brought to attention that
Oh yeah.
these telephone calls are being monitored, and you know what. But the article in Google's News said that the NSA is buying information from providers like Bing and Firefox and about it, and they're using that information. And some believe that information is being weaponized. And see, we talk about China collected information, okay, because we're actually doing the same thing, but it's not on the level where it's when we go outside our doors. There's facial recognition. There's
Are you sure about that?
I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure about that. But in America, we are losing our civil liberties. And you know what? We need shows like yours and like mine to bring awareness. And you know what? But it is hard to bring awareness when there's just certain things that you cannot say. Because when you are on certain platforms, you just can't say it. And you don't want to jeopardize your platform. But actually, they're still in control. Still in control.
Yeah. I mean, that's something that I'm realizing more and more.
Mm-hmm.
That this whole idea of freedom of speech it's it's a lie. It's a lie. It's like you have the freedom to speak if you agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? And it's a sad situation. I was just comparing it to China, the regime of China. But like I say again, do you understand? As soon as you walk outside your door, they have facial recognition. And if you jaywalk, that would be a strike against your property.
Yep.
And I think that this, at some point, is coming to America.
I think it's already here.
Yes? Why you say that?
I mean, the way that they do these credit scores, it's like, you can pay all your bills
Mhm.
and, on time, and your credit score don't change.
Yeah.
So they doing something that's not right.
No, man. I mean, there are things that are going on in America, and you know what? I'm going to continue to do shows for as long as they allow me to do to disseminate information about disparities that are going on locally, nationally, and globally until they cut me off. But I do understand that these these broadcasts are being monitored by certain people when you talk about things that are uh,
Political hot buttons.
politically hot to the society. Brother was telling me he been in office of the NSA. He said, brother, he said brother, they got a room from here to 79th and Stony Island where they monitor, he said, where they monitor telephone calls and television all over the world, brother. I said, no. He said, brother, let me explain something to you. If I know about it and I was down there, brother, it's old. They ain't surpassed it. So, man, Johnny, you got any finishing comments? And if you could tell us where we go to your website. This is coming on Twitch, Facebook, and YouTube. And I like StreamYard because you have the ability to disseminate information to 3 platforms at the same time. And the thing is, you don't know who's recording these recording this and all that, but it's okay. But do you have any finishing comments and tell us about your show and your platform, how we can go to your platform?
Yeah, so I'm Prophet Johnson. I'm on all the major podcasting platforms as well as YouTube, and the show is called it's called The Joyful Sound Truth and Conversation. And basically what I do is debunk all of the doctrinal lies that has to do with the gospel of the Lord Jesus Christ. I'm confronting the lies that are told by your pastor, that he received from his pastor, and that has been generally accepted in the world, because what's happening is everybody's feeling that there's such a great one that they can go in and change the scriptures and make it into their image and likeness.
And thing is, man, I appreciate that. Like I said, this my platform. All we're basically gonna do is talk about the news. I'm a news addict, and always have been. And, have fun with it, and have fun with it, and be serious with it. And sometimes I play the devil's advocate. Sometimes wait a minute, let me jump to the other side, because what I'm doing is I'm looking to facilitate conversation. Sometimes you have to be somewhat adversarial to stimulate conversation. Okay, and there are 2 perspectives, because the world does not revolve around me. And when I'm being adversarial, I'm being an advocate for individuals that have totally different opinions. That is what I am doing. I'm being adversarial for a purpose, not just for the hell of it, to stimulate conversation. Nobody want to sit up here and listen to the interview. They just agree with everything you say. Yeah, man, okay. What's the sense of the interview? What's the sense of it? What's the sense of it? What's the sense of it if I can't do a little agitating? And agitating sometimes can draw out truthful answers that people might not want to consider. So, I do a television show called The Underground Railroad. We come on every Saturday night at 10:30 p.m. Central Time. and podcasts. Thanks for the donation to the podcast. I will put that back in. The donations on StreamYard. That's another thing I like about StreamYard. They can give donations, and I appreciate it. And what I do is I put that right back into the platform. But I don't know about these other. But StreamYard is good with me. I'm gonna tell you something, y'all, real quick. I didn't want to use StreamYard, and I resisted it for years, for a long time, because it was $25. It was one that was $15. I said, I'm gonna get the one at $15, but I had so many problems with the ones that was $15. I sat down and I thought about it. I said, damn, wait a minute, man. You staying off what you consider the best platform for the love of $10. And then I sat down and I really thought about it. You know what? The StreamYard was superior. It was superior to the other one, but individuals should use what they want to use. And you can use OBS for free. But see, the reason for y'all, I don't want to use OBS, because you know what? You got to type in this, you got to figure this out. But this right here, this is just, it's set up for people like me that don't want to do the hard work when it comes to setting up things. So this is the reason that I use StreamYard, and I encourage you to investigate and use what you want to use. But that's the reason that I use StreamYard, because it's easy, and I don't like things that are complicated. I like things that are simple and things that are good. That is the reason. So, my link will be in there. By the way, my link will be in there. So subscribe to it and get it. And some of that will come on back to the Underground Railroad platform. This helps my platform to grow. But that's if you like things simple. But if you like OBS, use what you want to use. As my friend Top 10 says, spend your money the way you want to spend your money. But this is easy. I like things that are easy. Never have like things that are complicated, like things that are simple and good. And I want to thank the people for StreamYard and the people that in StreamYard for your excellent green screen that you have supplied, even with you don't even need that much light. You don't even need that much light. So when I go to OBS, I gotta light it up like this. I don't have to do that too much. I'm talking about with StreamYard. I am doing a commercial, because you know what? If you join it, you helping me and you helping this platform. But StreamYard for me is a superior product to Melon. And I'm gonna say OBS. OBS is a good program. But if you like free, go ahead. But I'm lazy. All right, brother. So you know what, brother? I just had to do a little advertisement here. Plus, we do Shaymar Media Production does video production in Chicago. If you need an event that you want shot and you want to come on a social media platform, hey, you know what? I can help you create a show. That's something that I can do. But it's going to cost. Yep. Yeah, it's going to cost. Things in life cost. Even love has a price.
It does?
Yeah.
How much love costs?
Sacrifice. Sacrifice.
Okay. All right.
So I can help you, and like I said, you can come on my platform, but you gotta help me. It's called reciprocity. Okay, you help those that help you. Okay, and it's called reciprocation. If I'm helping you to promote your message, you should be more inclined to help me, not with a handshake saying that's my main man. Mm-hmm. It's called reciprocation. Unless we have a bartering meaning I'm helping, I'm doing something for your platform, you're doing something for my platform. See, those are entirely different scenarios. Okay, but there's 3 ways you get up. But let me quit around them out, because you know what, man, I could talk all day. I just don't want to be bothered with James today, and I hope James see this. I mean, he's a good man. I like him though. I like him. You be bothered with him. Sometimes you don't feel like arguing. Top 10. So shout out to the Top 10 Club. Okay. Shout out to Marshall Farouk in Chicago on 47th to Stony Island. Marshall Patel on 47th to Stony Island. Marshall Farouk on 93rd to Stony Island. And Manu on 47th in California. Islam is spreading. Okay. Do what you want to do. Okay. Any finishing comments?
That's all I got.
Okay, so I want to leave my audience with to say good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whatever time you're watching this. Share this, because you know what, you be looking at this broadcast at any part of the day. That's why I say all of them. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I think I left out one. Okay. Okay, we leave the church verse of Assalamu alaikum. And you know what, Ramadan is right around the corner. The Muslims fast for 30 days. You're looking at this before Ramadan, beautiful. If you're looking at it during Ramadan, hey, get ready. So, all right, brother.
All right.
Thank you, brother.
All right. Thank you.
All right, brother.